Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today marks a huge milestone for Chrysler fans. It is the company's official 100th anniversary. On this day in 1925, Walter P. Chrysler formed the Chrysler Corporation, basically from the remains of the Maxwell Motor Company that he ran. Now, since then, Chrysler's been a leader in innovation for the automotive industry. However, in recent years, a lot has gone into question about Chrysler's existence. They haven't had an all-new product since 2017. While we've seen numerous concepts, nothing has come to market. We've heard rumors of them being sold. We've heard rumors of them discontinuing Chrysler. And yes, they have one vehicle in their lineup right now. However, that vehicle has proven itself. People say the minivan is dead, but it's not. It's sold in the United States. Chrysler sold over 120,000 units last year. And if you look at Dodge sold about 144,000 units with 4 vehicles. So, Chrysler's far from dead. And a lot of people think that, hey, there's no future for the brand, but there is. Now, Chrysler's kind of in limbo right now. We've seen product that was basically intended for production, but then has gotten changed and changed and changed. And the most recent vehicle that we heard was about this new crossover. And what we found out in the recent weeks is that this new crossover is still intended for production. It's basically going to come next year as a 2027 model. The reason being was it was going to be launched as an EV. And now with the EV mandates being pushed back, the demand for EV and products in North America isn't that high. Chrysler's going to a multi-energy strategy. And this has all changed since December. When Carlos Tavares left, now the Chrysler brand's getting to do what it wants. So, they're going to embrace gasoline, hybrid, and EVs. So, with that being said, the next generation of vehicles, mainly that C6X crossover that we keep hearing about, will be produced as a hybrid to kick off the whole lineup. So, that's pretty exciting news. However, this past week, Chrysler had a 100th anniversary celebration, and it was held at the Detroit Yacht Club. And if you watch the channel here, you've probably seen me do a live stream from there showcasing the concepts that you see on the screen and some of the vehicles that we were driving. Now, this event was really cool. Again, there was concept cars there that we usually don't see out on, out in any kind of auto shows or displays. They're basically, kind of hidden in the Chrysler Historical Collection at the Conner Center in Detroit. However, it was nice to see some of these concept vehicles that we haven't seen in years get out in the public light again and being showcased outside, and you get to really see the design. And then on top of that, Chrysler brought out several of their really awesome historical collection for the media to drive. And again, being able to go to this event and actually drive some of these cars that I had seen for years at the Walter P. Chrysler Museum was one of the biggest highlights of my life. I got to actually drive the 1963 Chrysler Turbine car. So I was very excited about that. Other vehicles that were there, 1951 Chrysler Newport Convertible, which is absolutely stunning. A 1948 Chrysler Town & Country that was absolutely beautiful. Lee Iacocca's his car that he was granted, even though he didn't put a lot of miles on it because he didn't really drive. His daughters mostly did, but it was an 86 Town & Country convertible that was there. The car that Ricardo Montalban basically was given by Chrysler to him to use as a press vehicle was there, and we got to drive that. That was pretty cool. Even Ricardo Montalban, everybody knows him from the Cordoba commercials saying, rich Corinthian leather. That car actually had vinyl in it, so like the car that he had. So it was kind of comical in a way, but it was nice to see all these products that really meant something to the brand out in the public eye again. Now, the very interesting thing was, during these events, we usually hear spiels from the CEO and stuff like that about, where the future is going. And this was no different with the Chrysler brand. Chris Fuel was there. She answered questions from the media, but she had a really nice speech basically at the beginning of the event. And her and Ralph Gilles basically talked about the future of the brand. And I've been one of the most critical people about Chris Fuel. I think, again, she's been in basically the CEO position since September of 2021. We really haven't seen any new product. The product that was going to be launched was basically held back for a design change. So I was very frustrated. And then especially this year, being the Chrysler fan that I am, I didn't see anything being promoted for the 100th anniversary. So at this event, Chris laid out what they're doing for the 100th anniversary. They're kicking it off this past week. They introduced a 2026 Chrysler Pacifica 100th anniversary edition van, which to me was nice, but it wasn't, it was okay. But she laid out some groundwork of where the brand's going. And one of the most critical things I've been saying about the Chrysler brand is Chrysler was always known as the blue-collar luxury brand. And in the FCA years, it got kind of changed into what they would say was going to be a future mainstream brand. Unfortunately, I always thought that Chrysler, since like maybe 2015, kind of lost its way. It got away from being that blue-collar luxury brand, trying to be something mainstream, but it couldn't quite do it because of the lack of product. But what Chris basically and Ralph both said is that Chrysler is going to go back to being that innovative blue-collar luxury brand. And they talk a lot about it. You're going to see a 16-minute video that I shot from the event with Ralph and Chris talking about the future of the brand, design direction, everything. And even when she talks about the multi-energy strategy going forward. So I think it's important for you guys to watch. We're going to watch it in its entirety, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it. So sit back, watch what they say, and we'll talk right after the video's done.
Thanks for being here on this beautiful morning. We are thrilled to have you here today as we kick off a milestone celebration, Chrysler brand's 100th anniversary. That's right, a full century of innovation, performance, and American automotive history. And we're not here just to talk about the past, we're here to experience it. So today, you'll get to see more than 20 historic vehicles, including some of the most iconic concept cars and production models we've ever built. But here's the real treat. 11 of these rare vehicles aren't just for display. You will have the opportunity to drive or ride along around beautiful Belle Isle, past the newly reserved conservatory, and back here at the historic Detroit Yacht Club. You know, there are so many places we could have kicked off our Centennial birthday celebration. The Chrysler Building in New York City, or even the Detroit Zoo, where Chrysler donated trains to carry visitors around the grounds. So why did we choose the Detroit Yacht Club? That's a great question. As it turns out, Walter P. Chrysler himself was a member here. And believe it or not, Chrysler once had a marine division. So this location is not just picturesque, it's the perfect fit with our heritage. Another fun fact is that Walter P. Chrysler Freeway not only runs through Detroit, but provides access to the Belle Isle Bridge. So take a moment to look behind me and you'll see an amazing lineup of Chrysler concepts that are truly a walk through time with some jaw-dropping designs, and yes, something new and exciting to mark the next chapter of our journey. This is indeed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So how often do you get to sit behind the wheel of history and feel what it was like when Chrysler was revolutionizing the road? As you know, Chrysler isn't just a name, it's a symbol of progress. From engineering breakthroughs to design firsts, Chrysler has always been ahead of its time. And while we've brought amazing products to life over the past 100 years, we're not done yet. The Chrysler brand continues to lead with new innovations, bold ideas, and continued investment in the future. And we actually kicked off the celebration earlier this year at the New York Auto Show with a very special display, including the legendary Chrysler 6. Now, as you know, this isn't just any car. It's one of the original 4 prototypes that Walter P. Chrysler unveiled at the 1924 New York Auto Show, and it's the only one still in existence today. And just 1 year after that auto show unveiling, on June 6, 1925, the Chrysler Corporation was officially born. Now think about this for a minute. Not many companies actually make it to be 100 years old. It's a club that includes giants like Delta Airlines, Coca-Cola, IBM, and our Stellantis sister brands, Fiat, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, Lancia, Peugeot, Opel, and Dodge. This week, Chrysler proudly joins this elite group in a milestone moment. In fact, it's such a significant point in our history that tomorrow, more than 1,500 employees will gather outside our North American headquarters in Auburn Hills to be part of history as they participate in a commemorative 100-year anniversary photo. Our story is much more than a timeline of products. Chrysler is part of the fabric of America, and Chrysler vehicles have been there countless times for family road trips, milestone moments, and everyday memories. That's incredibly powerful. So if I had to sum up what's made Chrysler so impactful, I'd say it comes down to 4 main pillars. The first being innovation. From the first automaker to introduce power steering, to the HEMI V8, to the Turbine car, to the creation of the modern-day minivan, Chrysler has a long track record for changing the game. Even today, our stone roof seating is celebrating its own 20-year milestone. It continues to define smart family travel. Second, economic impact. As one of the original Big Three, Chrysler helped to build the foundation of the U.S. auto industry, driving jobs, manufacturing, and growth across America. Third, cultural influence. Vehicles like the Chrysler 300, which was dubbed the banker's hot rod, and the minivan have become cultural icons, symbols of style, practicality, and American ingenuity. And these aren't just vehicles. They've shaped how generations of families move and live. Fourth pillar is resilience. Chrysler has certainly seen its share of ups and downs, but we're still here and we're still leading. We've adapted, evolved, and continue to deliver what customers want. And today, Chrysler is proud to be known as the minivan brand, and we embrace that. After all, we created the segment 42 years ago, and since then, we've sold more than 15 million minivans, and the Chrysler Pacifica still leads the segment as America's best-selling minivan and the most awarded minivan ever. Since I joined the company in 2021, we've continued that momentum, and we're staying true to Walter Chrysler's original vision. Innovation, engineering excellence, and beautiful design, all at an accessible price. So to mark this 100-year milestone, we're introducing something really special. The Chrysler Pacifica 100th Anniversary Edition, which is available for ordering this month. This 100th Anniversary Edition features semi-gloss granite crystal accents and unique polished luster gray wheels, and it's available in red, white, and blue exterior paint colors in both the gas and plug-in hybrid powertrains. We are so excited to celebrate Chrysler's legacy, but more importantly, we want to set the tone for our future, a future that's focused on innovation, beautiful designs, and continuing to connect with families who have always been at the heart of this brand. Now, we can't talk about Chrysler's past and future without including 2 very important people. So I'm thrilled that both Stellantis design chief Ralph Gilles and historian Brant Rosenbusch could be here with us today. First, Ralph Gilles, who has had his hand in many of the brand's most iconic designs.
Thank you, Chris. Great to see you.
Yeah, you too. So Ralph, I have to ask, we've got an abundance of really incredible vehicles here today. Which one's your favorite?
Well, so many don't know, I actually run the collection with Brad, so I'm the one who oversees our collection. So I love them all the babies, but an absolute favorite is the Chrysler Kronos. Came out in '98. We were on this trend of doing these grand American cars with big, powerful either V8. We had a 16-cylinder as well. That one, though, you could see the 300 in it. It heavily inspired 300, but I love the audacity of the design. The fact that, we're back here. We're experimenting. We showed those cars, all of them actually were at Pebble Beach at one time or another, and stole the show. Right? So I just love the, let's say, the audacity that we try to put that in our modern day vehicles.
And I see some inspiration for the Halcyon from that, too.
Correct. Yeah.
So, Ralph, you and I have talked a lot about cultural trends and how they influence design and how we create our vehicles. From your perspective, how are those trends best represented and how do you think about the design for Chrysler?
Well, Chrysler's all, you mentioned it before. Walter P. Chrysler's words about accessibility, it's been always what we're after. We have attainable goodness, so luxury. So when we came out, every design we make is meant to the owner feel like he paid twice as much, he or she paid twice as much as they actually did. And we've been pivoting that, especially on design at Pacifica, about the self-care movement. People are really being more conscious about their mental health, their personal health, their everything. So when we designed the new Pacifica, we pivoted to that. It used to be about the kids and hauling stuff. The new car was about mom, making that Zen moment happen every day for everybody.
Right, great. So what other cultural or societal shifts did the design of other Chrysler products?
Well, I mean, really, continuing with the minivan is what we're surprised what people use them for. A lot of people don't even have kids, So the Stow and Go, we took it to the next level, sped it up. We added the vacuum cleaner, and there's many, many more innovations. I mean, we have 100 patents on this minivan alone, but it's the Swiss Army knife, and that's what I love about it. It's still my favorite vehicle that we designed. Everyone asks me the Viper, all that. No, it's the Chrysler Pacifica because it has so much content. In fact, the designer of it is a mom, so Arena's over there. I like her design so much, I made her head of Chrysler. So she's the VP of Chrysler Design, and her team created the Halcyon. So you can see that evolution of Chrysler style.
Yes, speaking to your point about minivans being for everyone and not just people with young families, I was at a family wedding out of town this past weekend and at the valet waiting for my car to come up, and the valet said, "Oh, that Pacifica is sick." He might have been 23 years old. And I asked him, I said, "So what makes a Pacifica sick?" And he goes, "My family have owned and driven town and countries and Pacificas forever until the wheels fall off, and I just love it. They're comfortable, they're cool, and I would always drive a minivan." And I thought that was really interesting from a 23-year-old kid.
I have a fun fact. It fits either 11 sheets of drywall, 4x8 drywall, or a queen-size inflatable bed. So you use that, your imagination, what you can do with that.
You can camp in it. So, getting back to inspiration for design, which innovation in recent years do you think has had the biggest impact on vehicle design?
I would say, most designers around the world would say the freeform headlamp. You can see how it's evolved over the years. Once we got rid of that sealed beam headlamp, we just went nuts. And it keeps happening with LEDs. But when I really think of what designers use as a tool every day, it's aerodynamics. To this day, now we're getting more into computational dynamics, but we're still using wind tunnel. We just spent $30 million upgrading our wind tunnel last year. And even Chrysler, if you think about it, the airflow was the first car to really take aerodynamics seriously back in the early 1930s. And to this day, it's a priority. We're putting 200 to 300 hours of aero work in our modern design. So I think without that tool, the cars wouldn't look the way they do, but they also wouldn't be as beautiful as they are.
Right, and there's a fuel economy and range benefit that comes with that too. So as for me, some of the innovations that still blow me away are the Turbine car, and we talked about that.
Say Turbine or Turbine? Arguing about that.
Yeah, and the invention of the modern day minivan. We created a vehicle that was a classic family hauler, but was garageable.
Yes.
And safe and convenient with the sliding doors and things like that. It was truly innovative and ahead of its time. So Chrysler doesn't just move people, we have been shaping the experience of travel itself. So looking to the future opportunities, what excites you most about the direction in future vehicles?
I'll put it very bluntly, we're back on with Chrysler. We're the studio that we set up about a year and a half ago. We've been just going nuts in there, looking at concepts, because there's something about the Chrysler brand that none of our other brands can do. We knew that in the past. It was not too long ago we were selling 1 million Chryslers a year, and we see pockets of opportunity there that we're literally sketching on as we speak. I wish I could show you more, but we have a lot cooking, and that's what today's about a little bit, is a reminder that, hey, we're here, we're alive and well, but we're headed towards the future. So I think Chrysler is going to represent something unique within our portfolio, but also unique in our spirit and our love affair with the automobile.
Yeah, 100%. So, kind of expanding on that idea of Chrysler's future, we wanted to talk a little bit about where we're headed with the Chrysler Halcyon concept. And the Halcyon represents the future of the Chrysler brand because it really embodies this notion of harmony in motion, which is Chrysler's vision for the future. It's about sleek design, seamlessly integrated technology, reimagined stow and go, and it integrates future generation advanced technology for real life, which means it's intuitive, easy to use, and makes your mobility experience better. It includes things like smart cockpit, features like heads-up display, and those things are production ready now. We want to make mobility intuitive, more enjoyable, and safer. And the Halcyon concept brings it all together and signals what you can expect from our future products. So we're really leaning into multi-energy strategies as well by continuing to offer gas and hybrid options while continuing to develop and introduce all new forward-thinking electric vehicles. So this is a really bold direction, but one that's grounded in what our customers are asking for and what the market demands are. They want affordable luxury, to your point earlier, and also smart innovation and elegant, expressive design. I've talked to a number of customers and even members of the media who said, Chrysler's always been about American luxury, but at an accessible price. So speaking of the future, one of my favorite events each year is Stellantis Drive for Design. And this year, more than 30 high school students submitted their visions for the future of Chrysler. And let me tell you, those students get it. Their passion, their creativity, and their understanding of the brand was truly inspiring. And it reminds us of why we do what we do, because the passion of our fans and customers drives us forward, just as it always has. So Ralph and I have had many conversations about the community that surrounds Chrysler, especially places like California where fan clubs and owner groups really thrive. And that enthusiasm is the fuel for our next 100 years, and we'll continue to celebrate all year long with events like the Chrysler Management Club that's gathering here tomorrow night, the Chrysler Carlisle event in July, the Gilmore Car Museum Car Show, and of course the iconic Woodward Dream Cruise. For the collectors among us, we've recreated Walter P. Chrysler's toolbox as a time capsule, which we'll place at the Chrysler Technology Center to honor this moment and his legacy for future generations. So as we look to the future, we will never lose sight of what brought us here, a century of automotive excellence and leadership. And just as we always have, we'll continue to put our customers first. We will always offer choice, just as we do today, and we'll carry forward the core Chrysler brand values of innovation, design, and resilience into a bold and exciting new century of progress. So here's to Walter P. Chrysler and his enduring legacy. Here's to the mighty Chrysler brand, and most importantly, here's to our customers who will join us on the journey through the next 100 years, because we're just getting started. Now, what celebration would be complete without a cake? So I'd like to give a shout out to Lincoln Alexander, who's an award-winning cake designer, food artist, author, and owner of Flower House Cakes, based right here in Detroit. I hope all of you will join us in celebrating 100 years with a piece of cake, and thank you again for joining us today, and enjoy driving these classic cars and celebrating Chrysler brand's 100-year anniversary.
So hopefully that video will kind of show a little bit of positive kind of look on the Chrysler brand. Again, it's a huge different kind of strategy going forward than what we heard back in December. And again, if you look at what Chris said in an CNBC interview, I think it was shot in November and released in early December. She didn't say anything about, blue collar luxury, nothing about affordable luxury. All it was about, we're appealing to new kind of markets. We're appealing to younger people, adventure brand people. I'm like, adventure brand? Like, I didn't get that. And it just made me kind of like frustrated because Chrysler was this affordable blue collar luxury brand, and I've been saying it all along. And a lot of people are kind of echoing, hey, we want Chrysler to go back to what it is. Fast forward 6 months, we're getting not just like the whole EV thing thrown away, we're getting multi-strategies. So there probably will still be EVs, but we're going to have hybrids, and we're going to have internal combustion gas engines as well. So there's a lot to be excited about. Again, we haven't seen any product. I was really hoping, with it being the 100th anniversary, they might like show off some kind of design elements, like some teasers, maybe a couple of shots of this new crossover. Like even if we got like a really close up like shot of the grill, or maybe like a headlight or something, and just kind of throw that out as a teaser, like here's what's to come, it would have built up excitement to say, hey, there is product, we have product. And I think that's what the public needs. So hopefully their marketing team and the design studio will get together and maybe do something like that to kind of like show, hey, there's more to it than just words. So right now, yeah, they're words, but they're positive words. And I think a lot of people who are diehard Chrysler fans, at least, should be excited about, the future of what's happening. A lot of people have been asking, so we know that C6X crossover is going to be the next vehicle. Then following that, Chris has been very vocal that she wants the car segment to come back. So there will be ultimately a successor to the 300. Will it be called the 300? We don't know. Could be New Yorker, Imperial, Newport. There's tons of different names in the Chrysler, book. So with that being said, a sedan will come based on the kind of Halcyon design language. It won't look exactly like the Halcyon, I guarantee it, because that thing's so futuristic. It's kind of crazy. But there will be a sedan, and we should see that around 2028. And you heard it yourself from Ralph. They're working on a whole bunch of stuff. So Chrysler's far from dead. All those rumors that you keep hearing Chrysler's dead, they're getting rid of Chrysler, they're not. So positive outlook on the 100th anniversary of the brand. I think that's very exciting, and especially considering, just a few months ago where the brand was. So make sure to hit subscribe, like, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.